Chad Daybell was the leader of a small Doomsday cult. He created a following after publishing a series of books about his near-death experiences. He would often attend prepper conventions of people preparing for the end times. He was a Mormon who was kicked out of the church because of his extreme beliefs. While attending one convention, Daybell was approached by a blonde-haired, blue-eyed fan named Lori Vallow. The two hit it off and started having an affair. Both were married, but soon both their spouses would be dead, as would Lori's children, JJ and Tylee. Chad and Lori then quickly got married in Hawaii. Eventually, people in their lives caught on to what was happening. There was an intense investigation and a search for the missing children. They were found buried in Chad's backyard. Then the body of Chad's wife was exhumed. What followed were 2 trials and the convictions of Chad and Lori for the murders of JJ, Tylee, and Chad's wife, Tammy. Lori is now in Arizona awaiting another murder trial for the shooting death of husband number 4, Charles Vallow. And tonight, we take a listen to a jailhouse phone call that will make your jaw drop. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Big hour coming up here. You wait till you hear what we have to play for you tonight on this program. Let's start with Lori Vallow Daybell. She has different names. She murdered 2 of her children. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, that is who she is. That's who she is. You know, I used to refer to her as the Doomsday cult mom. I don't call her a mom anymore. She still is, but I don't call her that. I call her the Doomsday killer. The Doomsday cult killer. She was convicted. Now, the reason you can, if you want to still call her mom, is because she has a surviving son named Colby. He was the oldest. He was her first child. And this whole thing has not been easy on him either, and his family, right? Think about it. If you're a relative of Lori Daybell and you're thrust into this insanity, and then the spotlight, and then all this death and destruction and deceit, and you're in the middle of it. It's part of your life. She's your mother, for worse or for worse. I'm not going to say for better, because there's nothing better about it. But for worse or worse, Colby has a mother, and Lori Daybell is her mother. Now, she right now is in Arizona because she's getting ready for yet another murder charge. For the murder of Charles Vallow, which, if you kind of add up her murders, was really, if she's found guilty, would be her first murder that we know about. You know, one of her prior husbands also died. I don't know exactly what happened there. They say it was natural causes, so we'll go with that for now. But she's now facing another murder charge and getting ready for that trial. And while she's incarcerated in jail, she spoke with her surviving child, Colby, an absolutely shocking jailhouse call. And we're going to hear some pieces of that tonight on this program. What do you say? What do you say to your mother? You try to figure out like your life, and you try to figure everything out when your mother's been convicted of murdering your siblings. And what do you do with that? How do you handle that? It's not easy. So let's get right to it, okay? Colby and his mother, Lori Daybell, convicted murderer, locked up waiting for another murder trial. Here, talking about the death of those children. Take a listen.
You imagine walking in, finding them, and they had been gone for hours. There was nothing I can do. And when I came in, and I knew Tylee had been upset, and I knew that she was upset with me that weekend. And when I came in on that scene, and they were gone, I thought Tylee did it to get back at me. I thought it was all my fault. I thought She was mad at me. No one on the earth can imagine what that's like.
You're telling me that Tylee took JJ's life and then took her own life?
On accident.
Wow. And as you saw there, Colby has a podcast. It's really good. It's called Scar Wars, the Scar Wars podcast, probably because of all the scars in his life and in his family for what Lori has done. And you can hear the full interview there. You can check it out on YouTube after the show. Wow. Let me bring in a guest who knows a whole lot about this story, has been covering it from the beginning, breaking news left and right, the news director of EastIdahoNews.com, Nate Eaton, back with us. Nate, great to see you. First, just your reaction to the fact that this phone call is made and Colby recorded it and we're hearing all of this.
I think Colby has had a lot to say, Vinny, that has really built up over the past 5 years, honestly. And I think he was ready to talk to his mom. This is the first time that he's spoken to her since he had to testify at her trial. And actually, before that, he called her in jail right after the kids were found. And I think that he just wanted to get a lot off his chest. He says he went into this call without any rebuttals. He didn't want to rebuttal her because he figured it would be pointless. He just wanted to listen to her. He didn't want to argue with her. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was a 64-minute call that is just, you described it, it's just jaw-dropping.
And we see him there at the courthouse, and looks like his family is growing, which is good news, right?
Yeah, he's got a couple of little kids, and his wife is expecting their first baby boy. That's one of the things that Lori asked him, can I be a part of your kid's life? And their lives. I want to be a grandma. She said she had a dream that his unborn child visited her, and Colby said, absolutely not. He said, I forgive you. I want to make peace with you, but you cannot be a part of my kids' lives. You cannot be a part of my life.
That's understandable. That makes so much sense. I mean, it's obvious, I think, to everyone watching here. But when you're in the middle of it and it's your mom and it's your family, you know, there's history there, obviously. So let's talk about what she just said here. He wasn't going to rebut it, but I think we're entitled to if we want, Nate. She is now saying that Tylee killed JJ and then took her own life.
Yeah, but we can rebut it because the evidence that came out at both Lori and Chad's trials show that Tylee died first, 2 weeks before JJ died. If Tylee died first, how did she kill her brother? It doesn't make any sense at all about that. But let's say it could happen. Let's say that, you know, they died at the same time, or that JJ did die first. She says it was an accident, that Tylee maybe suffocated him or something happened, and then was so upset that she then took her own life. And this kind of mirrors what she said when she was sentenced, what Lori said. Lori said that accidents happened, suicides happened, accidental overdoses of medications happened. She didn't get specific there. She did with Colby. And then apparently Lori came home and found both of her kids dead and thought that Tylee would blame her because she was mad with her. So trying to make sense of any of it, Vinny, you just can't. I don't know how to explain it, but there are very easy rebuttals to those arguments that, you know, you and I get.
Yeah.
I don't know if Lori gets it or not.
And no discussion quite of the zombies at that in that part of the conversation. Let's listen to another piece. Again, this is from Colby Ryan's YouTube channel, Scar Wars podcast. Again, a few more details here about the death of JJ.
JJ was found fighting his bag that he was put in. So did Tylee held him down too long or put a bag over his head? Because that was the evidence that JJ was being suffocated by somebody. That was
okay, so that is not the case. So when I found my little precious babies, there was no bag, there was no tape,
okay, so
there's nothing of that. They were just gone.
Okay.
Anything that was done was after the fact, long after the fact. They were not in there.
Okay, once again, she's saying there was no bag there, but we heard the evidence at the trials, Nate, and it seemed pretty clear that little JJ, one of the parts that was breaking everyone's heart is that he was fighting for his life.
We saw the photos, Vinny. I mean, well, it wasn't televised, but we saw, it's an image I will never forget. As a dad, you can't forget it. He was not only had a bag on his head, it was wrapped in tape. His fists were bound, his legs were bound. So she's saying she came in and the children were dead and there was no plastic bag or tape. And then long after the fact, somehow someone put the bag on JJ's head. I mean, who? She never says who in the call. And she doesn't, blame Chad, her husband, or Alex, her brother, who's now dead. Again, it doesn't make sense. The bigger question, well, I don't know if it's a bigger question, but an equal question is, who chopped up Tylee and burned her? Who did that? She told Colby, well, Tylee wanted to be cremated, and he said, well, why didn't you cremate her? He has their remains. They've been cremated. He goes, I have the cremains. Why didn't you cremate her? Burning her in Chad Daybell's backyard and then burying her in the ground, that's not cremation.
Looking back, right, in everything that was developing in her mind and with Chad Daybell, with the zombies and they're leaving their bodies, that seems to be out the door now, right? That my understanding, trying to understand her, right, was that Charles was no longer alive anyway. So when he was being shot, Charles wasn't being shot because he had left his body and he was Nick Schneider or something. And that that little JJ had turned into a zombie. He wasn't himself anymore. We're not hearing that.
No, well, she said at the beginning of the conversation toward the beginning with Colby that she never used the terminology zombie. She said, I went through all of my discovery before the trial, and the term zombie was only mentioned once, and it was when JJ was talking about getting a toy. Well, okay, if she didn't use it, Chad Daybell sure used it. It came up at the trial that there was a dark and a light scale, and everybody had a ranking. And if you were light, you were good, and if you were dark, you were wicked. Beyond wicked was a zombie, and the only way to get rid of that zombie was to say a special prayer or destroy the body so the zombie would leave. Friends testified of this. The evidence showed this at the trial. So she's telling Colby that, well, those weren't my words. And he confronted her on the multiple probations things, the fact that she believed there was multiple lives. He said, I don't believe that. I don't believe in reincarnation. I believe we have one time on this earth. And she still believes it. She said she still believed it.
Let's listen to more now from Colby J. Ryan's YouTube channel. She's trying to explain her own behavior and reaction to the death of JJ.
I didn't want anyone to know what Tylee had done to JJ, and I wanted to continue to protect Tylee as her mother, who has been trying to protect her whole life. This is my scenario, Colby. What if Tylee holding JJ down for too long, trying to get him to not scream and be loud in the apartment, which she was always upset about. We weren't in a big house anymore. We were in these tiny little apartments, and he was loud. And what if she held him down too long and realized afterwards what she had done? What if she had come running to me and told me what she had done, right? That it was an accident? Do you not think that I would have told police that I did it to save Tylee? Because you know that I would have.
Well, what we do know, she went to Hawaii with Chad. There they are hanging by the pool. That's what this was about. Give us a break. She's continuing to portray herself as this great mother.
Yeah. but also as a great person, the whole call centers around her and how hard it's been for her, and trying to give an explanation. It's fascinating to me to watch Colby's body language. You can tell he wants to rebuttal everything she says, but he's holding a lot of stuff in. He gets emotional at times. I mean, how would you feel if your mother, who's convicted of killing your two little siblings, comes out and blames it on your sister? And she tells Colby, oh, don't worry, Tylee and JJ visited me, presumably in spirit form, after they died, and Tylee apologized that she was such a brat. Blaming it on Tylee, and Tylee saying that she was a brat. I mean, it's just hard to fathom that. But here, once again, Lori is saying, I had nothing to do with it. She goes on to talk about how Jesus and Satan both had visited her, and Satan was trying to stop her in her mission, but she was doing what Jesus wanted. And still so many questions. The phone kept cutting out when Colby was talking to her. I'm sure that he could talk to her for another 5 hours, or maybe not. I mean, maybe he got what he needed out of that call, and there wasn't much there, and he has to just, mentally end it.
Try to turn the page. Try to turn the page. Yeah, in some respect, in looking at Lori Vallow, this is someone. I always got the feeling that this was someone who was born, with good looks, and was so used to using that, and it sort of blanketed her in this narcissism where everything revolved around her, because some of the descriptions we've heard from her family is that a lot of things did revolve around her, because she was, with the big bright blue eyes and the long hair and the beauty contests and all of that attention, it continues to fuel her, even though she is behind bars for murdering her children and is never getting out and is facing another murder trial. Let's take a listen to that part you just referenced, which is her now invoking a Jesus into all of this.
I learned all these things that I know from Jesus personally. So when he came to me in the temple and he put his hands on my head and ordained me to do something for him, like a job, right? And he said, will you do this job if you lose everything? This was in 2017.
Okay.
And then he said, will you do this job if you become like Job? So Jesus gave me a job.
Okay.
Lucifer has done every single thing to get me to take my own life. He needs me here to help people.
Right.
Now, there's eight women in my pod right now facing the death penalty.
Uh-huh.
Okay? 8 women in this little jail.
Okay.
Help them every day.
Wow. Nay, you were right. You're seeing what he's going through in these moments. Like you can watch it, right? And you can look at it, oh, it's a podcast, but it's not really a podcast. It's something much, much deeper for Colby and this moment with his mother. And, for a young dad now getting ready to raise those kids and go through, the best times of your life, really, is when you're raising your kids. It's amazing. And it looks like he's trying to close this other chapter so he can be all in on that. That's what I'm taking away from this.
Yeah, I think so. And think about it, Vinny. He's lost his whole family. His dad, Charles, shot. His 2 siblings, dead. His mother in prison. It's just him. Fortunately, he has extended, aunts and uncles and cousins. But really, it's him with his wife and family, his young kids, and this mom that, is just down the street in the jail, and he's got to have this conversation. When it's all over, he breaks down on camera and he says, I want to make it clear, Tylee did not do this. And for her to blame Tylee is disgusting. And there's so many other things in the call that just, don't make any sense. Don't make any sense at all. But, she's in this delusion, or some people say she might be faking it, whatever you believe. She, is there, and there she is smiling, walking into the courtroom. You mentioned that earlier. She's very flirtatious. We've seen it in the videos with the police, and she has gotten things her way for a lot of her life, but I don't know if she'd want to be in prison if it was her choice right now.
Yeah, well, we'll see her again in Arizona in that next murder trial. Nate Eaton, EastIdahoNews.com. Great to see you. Thanks so much for sharing your insight into all of this. And again, Colby J. Ryan's YouTube channel. After our show tonight, please, you go check it out. You can hear the whole interview. When we come back, we'll bring in our think tank, get their reaction to this and what they expect from Lori at her next trial, based upon what we're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, new clear video of the shooting of Kentucky Judge Kevin Mullins by Sheriff Mickey Steins. What does this video reveal? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
You chose the place. You chose the victim. Back of the head, execution style.
I am the one that was in the hospital with Tylee for hundreds of days watching her suffer. I am the one that was there doing everything with JJ every day. I was the one who did it all these years.
You did it all to throw it in the garbage. They're not.
You don't know what happened. You don't know.
That was the phone call. That was the phone call between Lori Daybell and her son Colby that was played during the trial. And that call was made right when the bodies are found. And he realizes that his brother and sister are dead and buried. I guess it would be the stepfather's backyard and Lori's backyard. Wow, what a moment. All right, let's bring in our think tank tonight, get some reaction to all of this. Joining me, trial attorney, fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, Ann Bremner. Criminal defense attorney, Darnell Crossland, coming in on a Tuesday. And finally, criminal defense attorney, former federal prosecutor, Michael Sterling. Great to see everyone. All right, Ann Bremner, let me start with you. Your reaction to the Doomsday cult killer, formerly known as the Doomsday cult mom, Lori Vallow Daybell, blaming her teenage daughter for killing her son and then taking her own life.
I mean, it's just outrageous, Vinny. I kept thinking, from the sublime to the ridiculous, but it's beyond that. It's just like fantastical and creepy and reprehensible. I mean, all of the above. And I don't know how she could even have that conversation saying those kinds of things unless, like I've thought for a long time, that she needs a mental defense. I mean, she was found incompetent to begin with.
Well, you talk about a mental defense, though. That last statement that we played, Darnell, where she says Jesus is speaking to her. That's like the only time I've ever seen a successful mental defense. Now, it's a little different in Idaho, the law and how you get there. I have to check in Arizona. But if the Lord is telling you that to save your children, you have to kill them, I've seen like Andrea Yates and another mother in Texas be found not guilty by reason of insanity. What are you hearing in that call? Are you hearing insanity or are you hearing sociopathic evil?
Yeah, I think I'm hearing sociopathic evil because nowhere in that call did she recognize that her son, who's the host of this Scar Wars podcast, might want to hear his mother say, "How are you doing? I'm sorry that you're going through this. I'm going to get lawyers and I have a defense and make it make sense." She seems to be worrying about no one else but herself, not even her son, who now has children who she's asking to be in their lives. Yet still, she's not apologetic or she's not empathetic of anybody or any of the debris she left behind. So I think she's a mess.
Now, Michael, she knows that jailhouse calls are recorded. Obviously, she's been to that rodeo for a long, long time. But listening to her sort of plead her case here, do you expect anything different in Arizona for the next murder trial, like perhaps taking the witness stand?
No, Vinny, I don't expect anything different. I mean, she's been who she's going to be this entire time. And as Ann pointed out, she was initially found mentally incompetent to stand trial, then ultimately found competent. But I think she's just who she's going to be. I mean, her story's changed, but her character, her narcissism, her sociopathic ways, like none of that has changed. Her inability to have any sympathy, remorse, express any regret, none of that has changed. Her character has not changed, even though her stories have changed multiple times. But who she's been is who she is. So I don't expect any of that to change. And all I can think about is, as criminal defense attorneys, this is a lot of times, this is what we go through, right? You don't get to choose your clients. Your clients, choose you. And a lot of times you're dealing with someone who just cannot see reality and who can't accept reality for whatever reason, who won't show remorse, who is narcissistic, who can take a life and still think they're the victim somehow.
Ann, at the end of her trial, at the sentencing, she did make this statement. It's a sort of a bizarre statement, but it was a statement nonetheless. At this point, I don't know if she's holding on to the hopes of an appeal or the end of times, which was supposed to come like back in 2020, I think it was, or so, and it didn't happen. Like Chad was wrong. Can we say Chad was wrong? He got the date wrong. He got the date wrong. So do you think she understands that at this point there's nothing to lose and maybe she'll just get up there and say whatever she wants to say, maybe throw her brother under the bus?
It might be time. I'm trying to remember, was that like a written statement she had last time that she read from at her sentencing that was
I
made
don't know.
sense?
She may have read it. I'm not sure. It was a little blurry because the judge was a little, not exactly a guy who was very transparent with allowing cameras to see what was actually happening in the courtroom. So I'm not sure. It was a little blurry. But would you expect her to just maybe get up on the stand? I got nothing to lose. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to smile, and maybe I can charm an Arizona jury.
I think so. I mean, I really do. I mean, look at Jodi Arias. Wasn't that her jurisdiction? Sure, she thinks she's charming. She's narcissistic. And what has she got to lose? This is, the end of the road. And I really do think that she sees herself as pretty captivating. And I think she's also got these delusions that she's going to stick to. And of course, everyone knows it's her right on taking the stand. The lawyers can tell her don't do it or anything else, but she's going to want to get up there. Like, put me up there. Have clients do that? Put me up there. Like, no, you don't want to get up there. And she'll be like, no, I think I can do this. And I think I can pull it off.
Darnell, do you think an attorney would try to talk her out of it, or just say, I got nothing to lose here. Let's throw her up there, see what happens?
Yeah. If this was my trial, I'll definitely throw up there. One, because I'm going to be able to sleep at night because she's going to be calling me saying that you should have put me on. You should put me on. Like, get me in the game, coach. So if I want to sleep, I'm going to put her up there, let her have a little fun, and then, she thinks it's her world anyway. So at least, when I do the jail visit after the guilty verdict, I hate to say that, Vinny, because my streak.
I know. You don't want to jinx yourself. I don't know if Ann and Michael are familiar, but he's got some winning streak going here, Michael. So if you got anything happening up there in Connecticut or in the Caribbean, this is the guy because he travels the world. All right. Ann Bremner, Darnell Cross, and Michael Sterling staying with us. When we come